We turn now to breaking news out of Bensonhurst that we've been following. 4 young girls stabbed by someone believed to be their relative. News 12's Julia Burns is in Bensonhurst with more on that disturbing scene.
Young girl, whole bodies, lot of blood,
A horror scene. That's what neighbors here in Bensonhurst say the quiet residential road of 84th Street turned into as people stopped their Sunday strolls to see police cars and caution tape closing off this home. But even more unsettling, the details behind that crime scene and the chilling call police got. Police say an 11-year-old girl called them from this house behind me here on 84th Street, saying her uncle stabbed her and 3 other girls. While police have not yet confirmed everyone's exact relation, they are all believed to be relatives. Police say when they arrived, they were led inside by another child, and after hearing screams coming from the apartment, they kicked down the door to see a man standing there with a meat cleaver and blood covering himself and the walls. After refusing to drop the knife, the man charged towards police, and police shot him. A second bloodied knife was found in another room. People in the area in disbelief.
I was shocked. I was really shocked. Like, nothing like that ever happens here. I lived here for 10 years since I was young.
Police have identified the man as 49-year-old Longshuan Chen. Video sent to us from people in that community shows first responders rushing into that house and eventually carrying a man out on a stretcher who appears to be injured into an ambulance. While it's unclear if that's the man who stabbed those girls, NYPD officials holding a press conference today on what they know so far.
Chen does have a history of mental illness, and we can tell you that there seems to be no prior DV history at this location.
Police say the investigation is ongoing, but everyone involved, including the attacker, is expected to be okay. In Bensonhurst, Julia Burns, News 12 Brooklyn.
Let's get right to it. A very busy day. We begin in Bergen County where a road collapsed, leaving this car in a hole. Police say it happened just after 5:30 this morning on Volvo Drive in Rockleigh. They say that the road collapse was caused by an overnight water main break. Luckily, the driver was able to get out of the car and was okay.
The search for a murder suspect comes to a close. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Amanda Bossard. The man wanted in connection to the death of a 31-year-old Bronx teacher has died by suicide. And News 12's Natalie Hernandez breaks down the dramatic details and spoke with those who knew her.
Amanda, Jessica Hoyle's loved ones are grieving tonight. They were too exhausted to speak to us on camera, but they echoed their anger at not seeing any justice for her murder. Police sources confirming that their primary suspect, her boyfriend, took his own life.
35-year-old Shannon Graham barricaded himself inside a home on Pratt Avenue.
After being approached by officers, emergency service and hostage negotiation teams also responded before a gunshot was heard. Jessica's family and friends left to grapple with this immense loss.
She was a strong, compassionate, very caring, dedicated teacher. She loved the children. She was very sincere. She loved her friends.
31-year-old Jessica Hoyle was shot in the head inside of her Mickle Avenue home on Tuesday. We're told both Graham and Hoyle were in a relationship and had been arguing the day of the shooting.
She was a no-nonsense type of person, and very dutiful. She didn't do a whole lot for herself. She was taking care of other people, always taking care of her mom.
Now at the Bronx school where Jessica worked, the pain is still fresh. A vigil grows with flowers for the beloved teacher laid outside. Her students and colleagues heartbroken.
The children in here are devastated. She had a great effect on them, a profound effect on them. She's going to be missed.
Jessica was more than a daughter, a sister, or a teacher. Those who love her say she was their lifeline. From our digital center, Natalie Hernandez, News 12, the Bronx.
5 staffers at a Barnegat middle school are now on leave after an incident involving a student there. The student's mother is telling us her daughter, who has special needs, was tied up and restrained. News 12 New Jersey's Tom Krasnowski met with the family in an exclusive interview tonight.
Beautiful.
Cassie Spinelli's 8-year-old daughter, who we are not identifying, loves to do makeup. She's nonverbal, diagnosed with autism, ADHD, and cognitive delays. She's on an individualized education plan and attended school in Barnegat as part of its ACES program. Spinelli received a concerning phone call this week about a recent day at school.
A resource officer from the school called me and said that my daughter's wrists were bound together by tape. And then another half hour went by, and the resource officer called me back and said that it was also on her mouth.
Spinelli says she was shown photos with tape also around her daughter's ankles. She says her daughter was wearing different outfits, suggesting this happened more than once.
I couldn't stop staring to the point where the detective had to turn him over.
The Barnegat School District has placed 1 teacher and 4 support staff members on leave.
I thought I could trust them.
Spinelli says her daughter's education plan has been suspended. She's homebound and no longer receiving therapy. Spinelli says she has noticed a change.
Instead of screaming now, she's crying as she's getting ready for bed and getting up in the morning. It's just like crying now, which isn't typical.
The family's lawyer has submitted a petition for due process aimed at restoring these services. They're also planning a civil suit. Barnegat police investigated and found no crime was committed.
Any mother of a child with special needs, especially when they can't talk, I don't think they should have to take their child to the ER to get examined, examined for abuse.
The Barnegat School District says it does not condone the type of behavior that's under investigation and that it acted quickly to hold staff accountable. The district has prepared a recommendation for the school board. In Barnegat, Tom Krasnowski, News 12, New Jersey.
A protest taking place in Bridgeport tonight in the wake of an officer-involved shooting. People gathering at the Margaret E. Morton Government Center, then marching to the Bridgeport Police Department. The protest coming one day after the Connecticut Inspector General released an initial report finding that 39-year-old Daishan Best was holding the gun.
So we're here to support the family, knowing that the young man was still shot in the back. And we want to wait for the investigation's conclusion before we can come to any other conclusion reference to what really happened. So we're here supporting and marching, and we just really marching for justice.
Protesters say they're reserving judgment until they see that final report.
3 stabbings in just 3 days in the city of Poughkeepsie, 2 of which have been deadly.
And News 12's Melanie Palmer talked with close friends of one of those victims as everybody grapples with this violence.
Disbelief. It's a shame. It's sad.
Debbie Dionysus has lost someone very close to her.
We make a point to run into each other to make sure that, each one of us was okay.
They're all going out. Just feet away from where these candles are being lit on Cannon Street in Poughkeepsie is where her good friend was stabbed Saturday night. Police have not released his name yet, but they say he was 51 years old.
A good friend. He's definitely going to be missed.
Violence like this has plagued the city of Poughkeepsie over the last 3 days. Very early Saturday morning, a man was stabbed near the corner of Main and Crannell Streets. He's expected to be okay. But Monday afternoon, less than 2 miles away,
it's heartbreaking.
A 78-year-old woman was stabbed in the chest inside this home on Oak Crescent. She died a short time later.
Police cars, fire trucks, everybody's scrambling. It was literally like an episode of Law and Order.
Carlos Marzano lives across the street. He and his neighbors are shocked, devastated, and heartbroken.
It's the textbook, I never thought it would happen. Definitely surprised to hear something like this happening. Literally right across the street.
There's no word on a motive, but police do not believe it was random. One person has been detained. Police say the 3 stabbings over the last 3 days are not connected.
Everybody's just on edge.
Regardless, Dionysus says this community is hurting.
Something's got to give, and not something like everybody turning to, violence.
In Poughkeepsie of Dutchess County, Melanie Palmer, News 12.
We begin with that fatal stabbing in Selden. A 15-year-old is accused of murdering his grandmother and trying to kill his mother. We now know what may have caused the deadly violence. News 12's Krista McNally was there today as the teen faced a judge. And Krista, this is just a tragic story.
Absolutely tragic, and we learned in the courtroom today that that fight may have all started over a computer. Prosecutors said in the courtroom that the teen had recently been locking himself in his room to stay on his computer, even missing school. When his mother confronted him yesterday about missing school to stay on the computer, she had allegedly threatened to take the computer away. The grandmother then apparently said, "Just take it," and that is when the teen attacked both his grandmother and his mother.
It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible. I can't even imagine what that family is going through right now.
Neighbors on Old Town Road in Selden were upset to learn a 15-year-old attacked his family members. According to police, it happened at about 9:45 last night. Prosecutors say the 15-year-old charged at both women, then grabbed knives and started stabbing. They say the suspect stabbed his mom in her neck, arm, and face. Officials say she played dead and was able to run out and alert a person driving by for help.
Officers responded into the scene, found a woman dead who we determined to be that subject's grandmother. So he stabbed his grandmother to death and stabbed his mother.
The teen was arrested on nearby Dare Road. He pled not guilty at his arraignment. One aunt who was very upset in the courtroom yelled out, "I am here for him."
There's a 15-year-old child here, okay? And he is presumed innocent.
The defense attorney also said that this is likely to be an adult proceeding. The teen is being charged with murder and attempted murder at this time. That is the latest from Central Islip, Suffolk County. Krista McNally, News 12.
We begin with a major cleanup operation underway after a landslide took out a business in the city of Yonkers.
Now, the good news is nobody was hurt, but the damage has been done. News 12's Lauren Delval spoke with people who know the owners.
And very upstanding, great people to work with.
John Mazzone of Maze Electric is a long-term client of Peterson Tool Rental. He checked out the scene this evening, astonished at the partial collapse of the building.
It makes me a little bit sad because he's a great businessman and he's always been right here for you.
Officials with the Yonkers Fire Department say the partial collapse happened around 7 a.m. this morning at 1256 Sawmill River Road after a rock slide caused a large boulder to become free and hit the property. According to Associate Professor Matthew Aiello-Lamans with Pace University, landslides this time of year are not uncommon.
We've been going through these freeze-thaw cycles through the winter time where water will seep into different cracks and whatnot in the hillsides. And then as it gets cold and it freezes, it'll expand. And then as things thaw out in the spring, they start letting things go.
He added that the freezing and thawing weather from the winter mixed with recent rainy days created the perfect equation for landslides. A 500-gallon heating oil tank was additionally damaged in the collapse, causing fuel to spill, which hazmat crews worked to absorb and limit the spread. Even with the cleanup, oil was seen in puddles around the building, only traveling further from the rain.
We could expect that some of it might leak into the aquatic systems nearby, but in the scheme of things and how large of a water system we're talking about, hopefully it won't have too many negative impacts.
Fire crews told News 12 a demolition is required on the property. Luckily, no one was injured. In Yonkers, Westchester County, Lauren Delval, News 12.